Hey there, grade 9 learners, and a massive welcome to this explainer. Today, we're zeroing in on something absolutely crucial to your own creative journeys. When we think of music and the arts, we immediately picture the performance, the splash of paint, the melody, and all that emotion. But there is an entire hidden architecture beneath all of it, the legal and ethical rules of the arts industry. Knowing how to navigate this ecosystem without falling off the tightrope is really what separates an amateur from a true professional. So let's unpack it together step by step.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today. We'll start with the creative arts ecosystem, move into interconnected arts considerations, and then understand intellectual property. After that, we'll hit real-world artistic disputes, break down the decision framework checklist, and finally, wrap things up with ethical application and reflection.
Section 1. The Creative Arts Ecosystem. Understanding the Foundation. The absolute first thing we really need to recognize is that art isn't just self-expression. Art is actual labor, and it holds real, tangible value. And because art is valuable labor, you've got to know the rules of the game to play it fairly. I want you to take a second to really familiarize yourself with these 3 boundaries, because I promise you, you're going to encounter them constantly out in the professional arts world. First up is infringement. That's when someone uses a creator's work without permission. Not cool. Then we have attribution, which simply means giving proper credit to the original artist. And finally, fair compensation. This ensures the artist is actually paid appropriately for their hard work. These are the strict boundaries that protect creative labor.
Section 2. Interconnected arts considerations. Culture, society, and business. You see, art doesn't just exist in a vacuum. It directly intersects with our broader cultural identity and the economics of the business landscape. It's like a giant domino effect. Literally, every single creative decision you make sends massive ripple effects through society. When we stop and ask the question, who actually benefits economically from this artwork, we're tying directly into Sustainable Development Goal number 10, which is all about reducing inequalities. Think about it. If artists, especially those from marginalized or traditional cultural groups, aren't paid for their original work, inequality just grows. But by paying attention to those economic implications, your art can actually help build a fairer society.
Section 3. Understanding intellectual property, the legal armor. So, if art has real value, how do we actually defend it? Well, intellectual property is basically your primary legal armor against theft. Now, intellectual property, or IP, can sound like this incredibly intimidating legal jargon, but it's actually pretty straightforward. I want you to picture it as a giant umbrella. This giant umbrella covers a whole bunch of different rights and protections for anything created by the human mind. Let's see what fits under there. Underneath this giant IP umbrella, we've got things like trademarks, which protect brand names and logos. We have protections for original artistic expressions, think specific dance choreography, paintings, and of course, music. To really bring this to life, just imagine a massive live concert. That one single event involves multiple rights simultaneously. You've got the copyright for the music being played, the trademarked name of the event or the band itself, and you have rights protecting the stage choreography. It's the whole shebang, all safely protected under that one giant umbrella.
Now here's a fact that absolutely surprises a lot of beginners, and it is vital you know this. Copyright is automatic. The exact moment you write down that lyric or save that digital sketch, it is literally and legally protected. There's no way around it. No forms, no fees. It exists the very second the work is born into the world.
But we need to clear up a huge misconception right now. Attribution is not a magic-free pass. Simply giving a shout-out by saying, "music by so-and-so," does not magically grant you permission to use their work to make a profit. You have to always keep that in mind. If you're making money off of someone else's intellectual property, a simple shout-out is never, ever enough.
Section 4. Real arts industry cases. Applying the law. Go ahead and put your investigative hats on for a second, because we're going to look at how these foundational rules apply to actual industry conflicts. Here we're comparing 2 really common scenarios. Case A involves a dispute over similar logos or, say, an original shape. To solve this one, you've got to take a proactive, analytical approach. You need to ask the right questions. Who are the creators? What are the exact dates of creation? What specific elements were used? Then we have Case B, unauthorized display. Now this is a total nightmare for an artist. They've just lost control over how their work is shown. In this situation, you need defensive actions. Take a picture, save the proof, and immediately negotiate a proper licensing arrangement or ask management for removal. You absolutely have the right to control how your art is displayed. Here's another scenario that happens all the time, especially in schools. Let's say a cultural group is using a musical arrangement strictly for educational purposes. Pretty common, right? Well, here is the truth. Using a work for an educational purpose does not automatically erase the original creator's rights. You still need to ask for their blessing, secure proper permission, and ensure fair compensation if appropriate. Respecting the original arranger is just non-negotiable, even inside a classroom setting.
And this brilliantly illustrates Section 5, the artist's decision framework, a practical checklist. Moving from just understanding these industry problems to actually applying a step-by-step solution for any art project requires a solid plan. This is your personal, practical framework for safe and ethical creation in literally any art project. I want to slow down on step 1 for a second, because it is absolutely where everything begins. Before you do anything else, you must identify the original elements of the work and exactly who the creators are. Once you know whose work you're building upon, you move through steps 2 to 4 to assess the legal requirements and plan your project. But I really want to focus your attention on step 5.
Step 5 asks you to deeply examine ethnic representation. Let's say you're working on a costume design that features traditional tribal patterns. You have a professional responsibility to ensure that representation is done with absolute accuracy and dignity. You must avoid stereotyping at all costs. This is exactly where art directly impacts culture, and handling it responsibly is the mark of true professionalism.
Let's pause and consider this standard carefully because it really hits the nail on the head. Originality, permission, accurate attribution, fair compensation, and respectful representation should be planned before publication or performance, not repaired only after a complaint. Let that sink in for a moment. Planning ethically is just as important as the creative process itself. You don't wait to get caught, you build integrity into your art right from day one.
Section 6, Application, Assessment, and Reflection. It's time to wrap things up and get you ready for your mini conference group activity where you will prove you are responsible artists.
As you prepare your presentations, keep this big number in mind. 40%. That's the grading weight focused directly on your understanding of these cultural concepts. So the crucial point here is to really focus your energy heavily on that core understanding, making sure your presentation is incredibly engaging but also strictly evidence-based. Let's do a rapid formative check to solidify what we've covered today. First, is attribution enough for commercial use? No way. Intended commercial use requires a proper license. Second, which consideration looks at who benefits financially? That would be the socioeconomic consideration. And third, what is step 1 in our framework? Identifying the original works, creators, dates, and elements. If you have those 3 answers locked down, you are in great shape.
Finally, I want to leave you with a reflection question to carry with you. Grade 9, I want you to genuinely think about this. True artistry doesn't just create beauty. It creates fairness, justice, and respect for everyone involved. When you use someone else's labor without credit or compensation, you are doing the exact opposite of that. So the next time you create or share art, ask yourself, what impact are you really leaving behind? Keep learning, keep creating, and always create ethically. Thanks for joining me on this explainer.